title. It's Game 6 of the NBA World Championship Finals as a 9th straight sellout here in the Summit. The Houston Rockets playing host to the Boston Celtics. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender. The Celtics, with a win tonight, could clinch their 14th title in the last 25 years. But the Cinderella team this year has been the Houston Rockets. And thus far, throughout the playoffs, they have never lost 2 games back-to-back. What are they going to have to do to stay alive in this championship final? We talked to Coach Del Harris.
Well, we got to be very aggressive tonight. We got to be very aggressive to the board and on the defense, and very alert. And if we do that, we won't foul, because we do have to stay out of foul trouble so that the substitutions aren't dictated by the scorebook. And then offensively, we have to stay very disciplined. We'll look for the fast break if it's perfect. We'll look for the early open shot if it's perfect. If it's not perfect, then we're going to wait for the big fella, and we'll try to hammer it in. And if we don't get that, we'll take what they give us for that. Clock goes buzz.
That big fella, of course, being Moses Malone. And 2 men alongside me, Bill Russell and Rick Barry. Bill, you told me before the start of this game, you really got to have a plan at this stage.
Yeah, Gary, you got to remember, it is a good thought, a kind word, and a baseball bat will get you more than a good thought and a bad than a good thought. But what I'm saying is they've got to have a plan, because you can't go in this game depending on emotion. You have got to have a plan. Now, what Houston has to do is come out there. They have got to control the boards, period. They got to control the offensive board because they have not shot well. They got to control the defensive board to keep the Celtics from fast breaking.
Okay, Rick Barry, we kind of have a similar thing here. The Rockets lost by 23 on Saturday. They came back to win. They got beat by 29 Tuesday. What are they going to have to do to come back again?
Well, Del Harris told you what they have to do, Gary, but they were able to do that in those other 2 games because the Celtics did not do their job. They weren't prepared. They admit that. They did not control their defensive boards. They were sloppy handling the ball, had over 20 turnovers in both games. If the Celtics come out ready to play, they should win this game and their 14th title.
What about psychologically, Bill? Who's in the best situation right now?
Well, it depends on the team. Now, the Rockets have got to come out with the attitude, the Celtics will have to beat us one more time. And they're not going to do it. If they come out with that attitude, then they will have an edge, because the Celtics, everyone expected them to win 4 straight, or at most 5. And every game that the series continues, the question is, what's wrong with you guys?
Okay, let's check now. First, the Boston Celtics starting lineup. As you can see, Maxwell, Bird, Parish, Archibald, and Ford for Coach Bill Fitch. And the Houston Rockets with Robert Reed, Billy Pultz, Moses Malone, Mike Dunleavy, and Tom Henderson. The Rockets will be without Calvin Murphy. As you look at Jack Madden and Jake O'Donnell, the alternate is Paul Mahalik. Calvin Murphy, if you did not see the game Tuesday night, sustained a shoulder separation going for a loose ball with Rick Roby. He's not going to play tonight. It's doubtful he'd even be ready to play on Sunday. He's a tough little customer, Calvin Murphy.
But when your shoulder gets separated, that ends all that toughness.
Thus far in the playoffs, this Houston team is 4-4 at home. They've been very effective on the road. This Boston Celtic team coming into this game is 5-3 on the road in the playoffs. Here's Billy Pultz out to Mike Dunleavy. Chris Ford jumping out on him. 6 seconds on the shot clock, and Moses Malone gets the Houston Rockets started.
Well, that time they were much more patient with their offense. They didn't rush things. They didn't try to force a shot. They gave Moses a chance to maneuver inside. He got open. They got the ball to him, and they got an easy basket.
Archibald off to Larry Bird. Bird having a tough time with his shooting game. Look at Cedric Maxwell. Rebound Moses Malone. Larry Bird really struggling as far as his shooting is concerned. For the entire playoffs, he is shooting only 38%.
I think that was a very difficult shot for Larry to take to start the game. He did it up in Boston in the last game also. He should try to get himself an easier one or a layup to get off.
Billy Pultz hits, and this is in great contrast to how the game started Tuesday night, as Houston jumps up to a 4-0 lead. Archibald broken up. Jack Madden has spotted the foul. Reaching in was Mike Dunleavy, and that will be, of course, his first foul of the game. Inbounding the ball will be Larry Bird. Here's Tiny. Archibald also struggling as far as his shooting game is concerned. He shot 32% in the last 6. And a foul.
Cedric Maxwell called for an offensive foul, holding Moses Malone off as he tried to come around him to intercept that pass. Madden saying he hooked him with the right arm.
Now look at this. The 2 games that the Celtics have lost this year, they had 22 turnovers. That would be some trend to watch, Bill Russell, in this game.
The team that's had the most turnovers is the team that is...
Robert Reed able to save. It had been touched by the Boston Celtics. No backcourt. Dunleavy, this crowd is really alive right now. Moses Malone brings it down. He got it in despite a partial block by Robert Parish. And the Rockets now with a 6-0 lead. Malone with 4 of those 6. Boy, I tell you, this Houston team has gotten up off the floor all year long. They've started well tonight. Archibald misses. Here comes Dunleavy again. Chris Ford and a charging foul on Dunleavy, and he has picked up 2 fouls in a hurry.
Now, what's going to happen here?
That's his second personal foul.
Well, I didn't see very much contact in that play, Bill.
Well, because Chris Ford was giving ground is why he called that.
Out it comes to Tiny Archibald. 9 minutes, 50 seconds left in this first period. Still, the Celtics haven't scored. Now they have, as Robert Parish has scored 18 points in the last 2 games. Gets them on the board.
Now, what the Rockets have done so far is play the way they wanted to play. What they have to be careful is they came out here really hyped up to play. Now, when the game settles down, will they be able to continue with that much enthusiasm, or will they have a letdown? That's the question.
Dunleavy has missed 2 shots from almost the identical area. Out to Robert Parish. Parish, who was in foul difficulty in 2 of these games, but he settled down to play well the last 2 times out. Ford from outside. Parish with another rebound. And Parish has scored all 4 points for Boston.
And Bob Parish has really been a factor for the Celtics. In the 2 games that they won big, Parish did not get into foul difficulty, and he was an integral part of their success.
He scored, I should say, played 13 minutes in 1 game, 14 in another. But he's been around now. Robert Reed. Reed has been struggling from the field. Carol Dawson, the assistant coach of Houston, said if we could just shoot 45% the next 2 games, we could win. Archibald has tied it up.
We've seen this happen so often, Bill. The Celtics slow to get out of the gate, and then all of a sudden they just catch right up and just turn the game back around in the way that they'd like to have it going.
You know, this has been indicative of the series, but the Rockets seem to work so hard for their points, and then quickly the Boston Celtics explode at the other end of the floor. Billy Potts using that glass effectively, and the Rockets lead by 2, 8-6. Holtz with 4, Malone with 4 points. Cedric Maxwell out to Robert Parish. Parish against Billy Potts. Look at the pushing and shoving in there, and it's going to be on Moses Malone this time.
No, I think it's on Mike Dunleavy. No, you're right.
Well,
you're right, Gary.
It looked like Moses went straight up in the air that time. They called a foul on him, so they can't say that he hasn't picked up a loose ball foul anymore in this series.
It's a first. Boston Garden, Red Auerbach, who has 13 World Championship titles. And here is Mike Newland, the New Jersey Nets guard who used to play here for the Houston Rockets. 8-6. Bill, you get an idea that possibly Houston a little sharper, a little more edge in the early going as opposed to Tuesday night.
Well,
Chris Ford called for the offensive foul, running into Mike Dunleavy and knocking him out of the way. We'll pick it up right here on the replay. You'll watch coming from the right part of your screen. You'll see Dunleavy backing in, and there's Chris Ford running into him, and the foul called by Jake O'Donnell.
Well, Ford committing the foul. Dunleavy playing very aggressively despite the fact he has 2 personals already. Moses Malone.
And again, that's where they'd like to have Moses taking his shots from. Keep him out 8, 10, 12 feet from the basket if possible. Very difficult task, however.
Maxwell, who's played so well. Ford sets up 3-point play. Rebound from Robert Reed. Houston doing a better job on the boards.
Well, they did the right, excuse me, Bill, the right
anytime
thing.
you see Houston getting the rebound, every time Boston gets 1 shot, they're into their game.
And this is their game. Getting the ball inside to the big guy. Moses Malone with 6 points, 10-6 lead for the Houston Rockets.
I was going to say Ford did the right thing, though. He had to take it in closer for the shot or take the three-pointer. Don't just stand there in no man's land.
Cedric Maxwell, beautiful play on his part. Maxwell, these first 2 points. Boy, this guy has played so well. He's a strong candidate for the most valuable player in the series. 10-8, Houston by 2. Less than 7 minutes to go in this first period. Bird and Paultz collided outside. Here's Dunleavy. Dunleavy trying again. He's missed 3 of them from there, but Paultz with the rebound. Back to Mike again. Larry Bird brings it down, and Dunleavy, who had 28 points in that win Sunday, not hitting from outside. Maxwell up to Robert Parish, and he is dead-eye from outside. Gavin Maloof, the young president and owner of the Houston Rockets.
And again, Bill, they missed the shot when Boston's able to finally get their boards. They're able to get the ball out, and they got a good opportunity shot by Parish that time.
We're all even, 10-10. Reed with Maxwell on in. Robert Reed uses the screen by Paulson, hits it. Robert Reed, who's been struggling as far as his shooting is concerned.
Most of the guys in this series have been struggling with their shooting.
Well, the Rockets in 3 games have been in the 30 percentile. Reed with his first 2 points of the night. Robert Parish again, and Parish has the rebound by Bird, and we're going to have a foul on Robert Reed.
There you see Robert Parish with the jump shot. Just a little bit short, hits the rim, comes out, long rebound to Bird, and Robert Reed picks up the foul. With 5:57 to go in the first period, the Rockets are up by 2.
Here's Calvin Murphy. You know he'd like to be in uniform. That shoulder separation.
No, he wouldn't like to be in uniform, not with that shoulder.
Foul inside. The Celtics earlier today were really not sure, as Reed commits a second foul, whether or not Murphy would play. They were a little concerned that they might bring the little guy in there and use him as a psychological advantage. But he just isn't able to go with that shoulder at all. That already is a 14th foul against the Houston Rockets. Larry Bird. Bird has hit 8 points, 8 points and 12 points, the last 3. But what a job he has done as far as rebounding is concerned, as he has averaged 15.8 rebounds and 7.4 assists.
He's really done a fine job moving the ball around and getting the other people involved, and that's what you have to try to do, contribute in some way when the offense isn't going well for you.
If he keeps that assist average up, that'll be a playoff record for forwards. Here is Mike Dunleavy. 12-12 are scored. Dunleavy thus far for 4 from the field. Larry Bird. Bird comes up with yet another rebound. To Maxwell. There's the Celtic fast break. And a loose ball foul will go on Larry Bird.
There we'll see Cedric take the play on the reverse. He gets it a little too high on the glass. Bird came. Looked to me like he just hit the basketball that time.
That's his first personal foul.
12-12 our score. 5:15 first period. Dunleavy off to Billy Paultz, and Jack Madden has spotted something on the baseline.
Robert Parish picks up the foul, trying to impede Moses Malone's progress to the basket. There you see Robert at the top of your screen in the middle. Now there goes Moses trying to go right there with the left arm, grabbed onto him and held.
Boy, Bill, they're calling him pretty close, aren't they?
Well, I think they might have heard about it. We criticized him for not calling close enough.
Billy Paultz missing. Bird with a rebound. 5 minutes to go, first period. Bird already with 4 in this game. Here is Parish. Robert Parish, and Parish now with 8.
Parish made a great play on that. That ball was thrown, if it was thrown to him indeed, behind him, and he made a heck of a move to recover it, keep his composure, and lay it in.
Robert Parish, who struggled a little bit in that Philadelphia series, struggled early in this one, but now really coming on for this Boston Celtics team. Maxwell going for the steal. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Reed. There's Parish bringing it down. Off it comes to Chris Ford. Ford to Maxwell. Out it comes to Ford. Good ball movement. Larry Bird. And Maxwell with a beautiful follow tip. Maxwell now with 4 points. 16-12, the biggest lead for the Celtics. Houston led by as many as 6, and we have a technical foul on Del Harris.
Well, we'll take a look at the last play here. There's the shot going up by Paultz, was off the Bird for the rebound. Tiny off on the break. Gets a little pressure from Henderson. No foul. Now he throws it behind. There's Parish just to reach back for it. The pass was to him. Lays it in the basket. And Harris came way out on the court to complain about that last play when Maxwell tapped it in and got the technical.
Archibald with a technical free throw. There is Dell. Tiny with 3 points. 17-12, the biggest lead of the game for the Boston Celtics. Mike Dunleavy still looking to get on the scoring column. Ford with the steal. Up to Larry Bird. Here comes Boston on the move. Robert Parish, remember, he's over 7 foot making that kind of a move. Moses Malone rips it down. Boston has had the break, Bill, but they're not really utilizing it when they get down there under the basket. 11-2. Boston has outscored Houston on this last run to take the 17-12 lead, and a foul on the baseline.
Robert Parish again.
That's his second.
Here you see the Celtics do a good job of trapping Malone inside on the baseline. There's Parish, a good position. Bird, he stands there. Now he moves, and Malone did the thing that a lot of smart players would do in that situation. You kind of jump into the defensive man. A lot of times you get away with it, and in that case he did because he initiated the contact.
Now look at this. Moses Malone and the Celtics, and that's what he's done earlier, and now against the Celtics in this championship series. Very interesting. You have to study that for a while to completely digest it all.
Well, what happens with this team, they have more depth at center than any of the teams that he's played so far. So when, like with the LA, when Kareem went out, or Kansas City when Sam Lacey went out, they didn't have anyone to guard him. In this case, they have 2 or 3 guys that can do a fairly effective job.
Boy, you saw that shot by Robert Parish. He has 10 points. You know, an interesting thing also, coming into tonight's game, those opposing centers had committed 50 fouls in the series. Moses Malone only 9, so he has really made them go to the bench. And they are calling a lot of fouls in the early going of this game. That one is going to go against Archibald, his first.
That's against Robert.
That's on Parish again.
It's Parish. Robert Parish with his third, and that's the foul difficulty experienced in 2 games earlier in this series. Rick Roby will come in to replace him.
Now what happened on that play is Tiny Archibald didn't know where the ball was when it was knocked loose, and as a result of it, the Rockets got it back and Parish picked up the foul. If he had known where the ball was, he could have had a loose ball. Henderson with the good penetration.
Tom Henderson with his first 2 points. 19-16. Maxwell up to Tiny. Tiny will try one. Archibald, who was slowed by that thigh injury, now has 5 points.
Now, at this point in the game, the Rockets have to be careful. They got to come down and get a good shot inside. Either the shot or an offensive rebound, because they can't let the Celtics get away now, because this is one of those games where they can break away.
Moses Roby brings it down. Rick Roby, the last game, had an excellent game with 14 points.
Oh, they missed Maxwell that time. He was wide open under the basket. There was no one guarding him. Moses was late getting back.
The Celtics, the last time on the fast break, scored 33 points in that 29-point win in the Boston Garden. Archibald looking like he wants to shoot the ball. He has been shooting all that much. Bird is there. Larry Bird horses it in. He has 4 points.
And they're starting to dominate in a fashion that's not good for the Rockets.
Houston, in that game on Tuesday night, took a lead of 14-13, and then the Celtics ran off 19-1 to take a 34-19 first quarter lead. Now they're making a move again here. 23-16, less than 2 minutes in this first period. Larry Bird. Roby just forces it. Billy Pulse brings it down. Moses Malone bumped out of there by Rick Roby.
And all of a sudden things have changed, Bill. Instead of the one shot, the Celtics are starting to get that second and third opportunity.
You heard Bill Fitch. Fitch, who had that sciatic nerve, has been really bothering him. Dunleavy now hits. After going 0 for 4, Dunleavy gets one. 23-18. Henderson. Third is back. 3-on-1. Robert Reed. And all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. 23-20.
And Houston needed that.
A little spurt by the Rockets, and Bill Fitch does not like it. Bobby Joe Reed with 4 points. Larry Bird, who wants to get a little more involved in the offense. Broken up. Maxwell and Cedric, that little nest area of his right around the basket, gives the Celtics a 5-point lead.
The amazing thing about Maxwell is he's a forward, and he never shoots outside the red zone there. I mean, always in the 3-second lane is that area.
That's the reason, Bill, he was third in the NBA with a 59 percentile. And loose ball foul. Larry Bird coming across.
There you see Bird trying to go for position, runs into Paulson, knocks him out of the way as he went after the basketball.
The penalty now in as Bird has committed his second personal foul. Parish with 33 seconds to go in the first period. They've won the final game on the road, and right now they don't want to go to a 7th game, but it's necessary. We'll be there. The Boston Garden, the Rockets against the Celtics. You know, we mentioned the fact that the 2 games that Boston lost, they had 22 turnovers in each of those games. But there's an interesting parallel in the foul difficulty of Robert Parish.
Well, when Robert Parish isn't in the game, the Celtics are not quite as effective. Sometimes they can be. Bill Roby will do a good job, or McHale, but the Parish gives them a little something extra, that good shooting touch outside, and also the intimidation defensively.
But the fact is, when he's been in foul trouble, they've won those games. 25-20 with 33 seconds to go in the first period. Pultz cuts it to 4. Billy Pultz, who had 10 points the last time out. He has 5 thus far tonight. 25-22, much different than what we saw Tuesday night when they trailed 34-19 after the first 12 minutes. Archibald running the clock down now for the last shot. Ford. Roby, as now there's 5 seconds on the shot clock. Archibald on the move. Rebound, Reed. You see the time left. Robert Reed makes it a 1-point game. 25-24. Reed with 6 points. And the Houston Rockets are very much in the thick of things right now. After 12 minutes, a 1-point game. This CBS Sports Special will continue after this word from your local station. Lawrence O'Brien, who is standing by to see if, in fact, he will present the World Championship trophy. If not, it'll be Game 7 in the Boston Garden.
They talk about that inside game so much and establishing inside that 12-foot area. The Rockets very successful in that quarter. 8 for 10. Celtics only 6 for 15. The Rockets outside shooting outside that 12-foot area 2 for 12. Boston was 5 for 12.
You can see the shooting percentage is pretty good after the first 12 minutes. You got to remember now that Houston has had a tough time shooting well, but they have 45% after the first 12 minutes. Moses Malone skies high for that one. And now the Rockets, you see Gavin Maloof and his team with a chance to take the lead. Gavin, in that game Tuesday night, he was so upset he had to leave in the first half. Here is Mike Dunleavy. Dunleavy backing out. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 6, 5, Moses. Rebound, Rick Roby. Roby has played Moses tough. 25-24. Just underway in the second quarter at halftime. We'll take a look as Rick Barry will analyze the first few games of this series, as Larry Bird now has 6 points. Also at halftime, we have a feature on John Havlicek. And Rick and Bill will have highlights of this first half. Bill Willoughby now has checked in for the Houston Rockets as we start the second period. 1 minute gone by in it. Here is Willoughby. Willoughby had a high of 14 points earlier in this series. Look at Reed. Reed skies up very high, and the rebound by Bird. Boy, Reed has really been impressive in his jumping ability in this series. Here's Maxwell. Ford. He set up at the three-point area, now takes it inside. Chris Ford.
And got a shooter's bounce.
He definitely got a shooter's bounce on that one.
Chris Ford, you might recall, had an excellent game here earlier. He scored 17 points. That was in Game 3 on that 23-point win on Saturday.
Spread out! Spread!
You can hear Dale Harris yelling red. That meant 10 seconds on the shot clock when he says that. Malone. Willoughby. And he walked to the ball. And so Boston will have it with a 10:09 to go in the second period. Turnovers are now equal. Both teams with 3. Got a lot of traveling calls. A lot of that, Bill, is how aggressive it is, I guess, underneath.
No, it's just a matter of nerves. You get a little nervous playing this game like.
Bird to the high archer. Again, give credit to Reed. He was playing the tough defense.
Made him change the arc from the shot.
Robert Reed has really been a remarkable story with his defensive play. That's going to be off of the Boston Celtics. Houston will have another chance.
And the coach doesn't like those kind of shots. If you're going to work the ball around and use 15 to 20 seconds, you want to get a better shot than that. You don't want to shoot from that far.
But you can see why they haven't picked up any ground. Look at that. 0 for 6. They haven't scored yet in this period. On the other hand, the Celtics now with a 29-24 lead.
You know, with Robert Parish out there, he makes a huge difference for the Celtics because when he's in the game, he is their primary shooter. They try to get him shooting more than anyone. And so when he's out of there, you got Rick Roby, who probably does less shooting than anyone out there. So you have an almost complete opposite in your center situation on the offense.
Larry Bird is not shooting very well. You would figure he would be that primary shooter. Chris Ford, good defensive play off to Tiny Archibald. As we mentioned, Houston 0 for 6. They're only shooting 37% for the entire series, and no team has shot below 40% in a championship series.
Well, they had Roby wide open that time, and Ford saw him a little bit late. Ball was intercepted by the Rockets.
Here's Tom Henderson against Archibald, both of them from DeWitt Clinton High School in the New York area, who's produced some outstanding high school players. Robert Reed, quick move. Reed powering inside, and Reed with 8 points. He and Malone now tied for scoring honors for the Houston Rockets. There's the turnovers. Watch those closely, because if Boston turns them over too much, they've been in trouble in this series thus far. Maxwell just doing some hard-nosed work inside. He has 8 points.
Well, he did what Moses did down the other end. That time he jumped into Moses, didn't get called for anything, no foul called at all, and he laid it in the basket.
Del Harris and Carol Dawson are up arguing. They thought there should have been a whistle on the play. Reed at the 8:30 mark, out to Dunleavy. Ford playing very good defense in this game. Rick Roby reaching around. Roby committing his first personal foul. Billy Pulse is getting ready to check back into the Houston lineup. And coming out was going to be Dunleavy. That means that Reed now will move out to a guard spot. Willoughby, Pulse, Malone, Robert Reed, and Tom Henderson for Del Harris's team, the Cinderella team this year of the NBA. They want this season to continue to Sunday. Henderson. Willoughby tries to follow. Roby brings it down. That's the kind of work Roby's been doing. Hard-nosed work. Up to Cedric Maxwell.
Henderson got away with it that time. He pushed off on that play.
Maxwell pushing off, elbowing, committing a foul. That's his second personal.
Oh, watch his left arm and see if he does indeed throw his left arm out on this play. There he goes up. Watch his left arm. Looked like he did a nice job of protecting himself, I thought. You get another angle. See if we can see a push off on that left arm, or if he just get it out there to protect. He's got it out there. Well, he put it out there to keep the man away. Had no effect on the play. I thought he made a nice play on it.
No basket. It's 31-26. Maxwell with 2 fouls. Inside 8 minutes remaining until halftime. Henderson off to Reed. Reed against Ford now. Ford 3 inches shorter.
Good interception.
Look at Malone. Malone working the board.
Pulse intercepted that.
Malone now in double figures with 10 points, and they climb back within 3 of this Boston team. Tiny Archibald, Henderson jumping out on him. Tiny, beautiful pass to Roby.
Excellent penetration move, nice pass too, and Roby made the smart move and was aware and ready for the pass.
That's what Archibald does so well, is penetrate. As you look at Rudy Tomjanovich and Calvin Murphy. Archibald has been shut down. He had 3 assists in the last game, which was a low for the series. Bill Willoughby. Willoughby getting some confidence back after struggling in the last game. He has 2 points. He missed a couple of stuff shots Tuesday that really took his confidence away. Larry Bird.
One of the few times Larry's been left wide open at the top of the key. Willoughby went down a little bit too far. Bird came as the trailer and just floated into the open.
See, Willoughby hasn't concentrated as much on Bird as Reed. See, Reed is a much more disciplined player.
And of course, that change coming when Reed moved out to the guard spot. Moses Malone, and now it's 35-32. Malone with 12 points. Boy, is it noisy here. Archibald is fouled by Willoughby.
And this is just a silly play on the part of Willoughby. Tiny Archibald is so good with the ball and so quick. You can see right there he committed himself way before. No chance of getting that ball and commits the foul.
ML Carr now will check in for Boston, but the Houston Rockets have asked for a timeout. 6:31 to go, the second period of play. Boston with a 35-32 lead. 18 wins, 14 knockouts. Look at this, the rebound situation. ML Carr, who just checked in before they called the timeout. 35-32. Bird with Willoughby on him. Let's see if Willoughby can be as tough as Reed, and Bird going to work, but Billy Paultz brings it down. In the second quarter, Boston now 5 of 8 from the field. Houston 4 of 8. Nice pass intended for Reed, but Bird was there. He anticipated. Archibald, Rick Roby. Jay, Roby used that left hand as much as he does his natural right hand.
He would prefer to shoot with his left hand around the basket.
Why is that?
Hey, guys over 6'8" are a little different anyway.
37-32. Kevin McHale is checked in, playing tough on Willoughby. Here's Robert Reed. There's McHale. McHale in one game has been in double figures, hasn't played all that much. ML Carr. There's the Celtic fast break.
And they better be careful.
That's exactly right. The Rockets have got to get it back into their tempo. They need a good play here.
See, what they have to do is they can't get so far behind that they have to start playing the Celtic game to catch up. That was a good defensive play by Bird there. He anticipated it. He saw the play coming up.
And you see, good move by Roby, kept his composure, and the defensive man Willoughby came by, and he was able to hold on to it. There you see another angle on it. Bird anticipating the pass beautifully from the defense on the forward on the right side, gets it off to Tiny. The Tiny with a nice pass. He knew his man Roby was there all the time. There he goes by Willoughby, lays it up at the left hand. The one thing that Larry does that's so good, Bill, is that he has the capability, if the man isn't open, to get that good quick lead pass out. He'll take it out himself and take the first few dribbles, then give it up and fill in the lane.
That's essential on the fast break. For kids that like to rebound, they should also learn to take at least 3 dribbles under control after they get a rebound, no matter how tall they are. Because if you then it's tough for a team to stop your fast break.
Bill Willoughby will inbounds the ball after that timeout. 39-32 our score. 5:28 to go in the first half. Henderson off to Willoughby. Reed, Carr reaching in, but Robert Reed continues on his way. Makes it 39-34. Reed now in double figures with 10. Malone with 12. Reed with 10. Boston is led by Bird with 8. And also Maxwell. Tiny Archibald. McHale tried to follow tip, but look how tough it is on the boards. ML Carr. Carr's made 2 fine reverse layups there.
That's good hustle on the part of the Celtics. They kept that ball alive. They had a good play going for themselves as Tiny penetrated up the middle. The ball didn't go in, but they battled hard to get it back.
Now this ties the biggest lead of the game, as Boston had a 7-point lead in the first period, and now with a 7-point advantage, Henderson. Malone follows. I believe it's Malone that will get credit for the basket, and does. 41-36, Malone with 14. We didn't see that Tuesday night, those follows like that.
Right, but he's going to have to keep this up all night.
He's capable of that. Bird, who met one there earlier, Carr had it for a moment, Malone has it. And this crowd of better than 16,000, the ninth straight sellout here in the playoffs. A record attendance this year for the Rockets in the Summit. They're excited. 4 minutes left in the second period. Billy Paultz with 4 seconds on the shot clock. Reed, 3, 2. Reed hit it. It will count, and a foul underneath the basket. He is pointing to Kevin McHale. Jack Madden indicating a basket will count, and now indicating the loose ball foul. It is McHale.
And the Rockets have been able to do it again, Bill. Each time the Celtics have started to run away from them just a little bit, they battle back and get into contention. Now there you see Willoughby fighting, and look at McHale. He grabbed him with the arm, and that's what the foul was called on. Who it was called on?
Just a little
on McHale. Just a little, Bill. Where did you get your first hint?
Well, I saw those guys laying around out there. I wonder what's the excuse for that.
It's now a 2-point game. 41-39. Bill Fitch had that 7-point lead whirled in a hurry. McHale off to ML Carr. Rick Roby still playing since Parish picked up those 3 quick fouls. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Bird is fouled. He faked Willoughby up and got hit pretty hard.
He'll take it.
As I said earlier, Willoughby does not have the discipline that Robert Reed has, because he doesn't go as blatantly for those feints as Robert Reed did when he was guarding Bird.
That may be in the ball game now for Tom Henderson. They're resting the guards by using Reed at the other guard. There's Casey Jones. Boy, he's been in these championship pictures so many times, both as a player and as a coach. Larry Bird makes it 43-39. 3.5 minutes to go until half. Here is Dunleavy. Archibald on him. Mike started out missing his first 4 shots, but he's too good a shooter to continue at that pace. Trying to find Billy Paultz. 10 seconds. 8, 6, and with 5 on the shot clock. And now Jake O'Donnell indicating inside a foul. It's going to be McHale again.
He got ML Carr that time, Gary, outside, putting his hand on Robert Reed's hip as he was going up for the shot.
All right, so Carr with his first. And with 3:18 at the line is Reed.
So far, Robert Reed has done an excellent job tonight. He's taken some outside shots, but mostly he's done some excellent penetrating and penetrating under control.
Reed had 27 points in the first game. Then he struggled. He had 2 points in one in the other. He came back to play very well in the last game as he was able to contribute 9 points and 7 rebounds. Now already with 14. It's a 2-point game again. McHale looking to Larry Bird. You can hardly hear it, so loud here. Enthusiastic crowd with 3 minutes in this first half, and Bird hit a tough shot. The guy's not shooting well. That was not an easy shot.
Oh, it really wasn't, but I'm sure Larry feels very good that the ball went in the basket, but it's a matter of whether he gets that feel back. He'll know it when he's got it.
12 points now for Bird. Reed inside. He made some quick moves. A 2-point game again. Reed with 16. He's headed for a big night here in the Summit. Rick Roby. Billy Paultz tried to block it, and Roby just powered it in. 47-43. Roby with 6 points.
Neither team was taking long shots.
Pretty good percentage shots. There's Reed. Carr with his hands on him, but Reed hits it anyway. Robert Reed right now is red hot. 18 points. Archibald to ML Carr. Carr to McHale. Tiny Archibald. And we have a timeout call by the Boston Celtics.
And it was a 3-second violation. It'll be rocket ball when we come back.
And so with 2:12, a 2-point game, the lead by the Celtics. World Championship Series, then rebound with Hondo. John Havlicek has been in a few championship playoffs in his own right. And then Rick and Bill will analyze this first half of play. And Bill, if you're going to analyze it right now, Houston has to be pretty pleased, I would think, at this stage.
Yes, they've been playing pretty much the way they want to play. They're getting inside. They're getting the ball to Moses just enough. But I think that up to this point, Robert Reed has had an outstanding game for him.
18 points for Robert Reed.
Both teams going inside equally as well this quarter. 7 inside baskets inside that 12-foot area for both ball clubs, and that's why we have a tight game. It was 25-24 Boston at the end of the first quarter, and Boston picked up only 1 point so far on the Rockets, and they lead by 2.
Well, I'm talking about Robert Reed, not just his points, his attitude.
He's really playing with a positive attitude. He loses it there. Calvin Garrett now has checked in for the Houston Rockets for the first time. He's 0-0. McHale. Kevin McHale over Billy Paultz. Paultz upset about that play. 49-45. McHale with his first 2. So Paultz, Malone, along with Garrett, Reed, and Dunleavy. And there are the stats thus far. 53. The Rockets much better than they've been shooting the series. Moses Malone. Malone was 16. What a 1-2 punch from Reed and Malone.
Bill, they really moved the ball well that time from one side of the floor to the other, and that, you said, will help Malone, of course, to have more time to work to get open.
Again, a 2-point lead for the green and white from Boston, going for their 14th World Championship. Roby out to ML Carr. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Carr takes on Malone. That'll be offensive interference. Kevin McHale. That will not count.
Here we'll see from our behind the backboard camera. ML Carr drives in, gets it over Malone. Here comes McHale. You can see he was over the rim when he tipped that ball back in.
And now a chance to tie it up with 1:08 left to go in this first half. The Rockets, who are out of it in the early going Tuesday night, but not tonight. Larry Bird brings it down. Archibald, McHale wanting the basketball. Out to Bird. Calvin Garrett is a fine defensive player. In fact, the coaches say he's a better player than Reed is defensively. Now playing Bird tough. Larry M.L. Card, nice power move by the 6'6" guard forward. He has 6 points.
What they did then, they had Larry Bird inside, and they were constantly passing to him, so Houston adjusted, trying to shut off the inside, so it made it fairly easy for him to penetrate.
The Rockets are taking shots very quickly. They're playing in a more up-tempo, which should favor the Celtics.
4-point lead now for Boston. Bill Fitch is up. You can see him in the background. Let's steady this thing down as you see the time remaining in the first half. Archibald. Somebody must have looked the wrong way. He took advantage of it. Archibald now with 7. 53-47. 4 seconds going to be Houston's basketball. Looked as though in that particular situation, man, there's a mental lapse defensively by the Rockets.
Yes, they didn't keep good ball-man relationship. You must know where the ball and your man are at all times, and someone didn't know what was happening, and the man walked in for a layup.
3-point.
A classic case of overthinking.
Well, Billy Paultz doesn't find the range from the 3-point area, and we have quite a basketball game. Be sure to stay with us at halftime. A look back at the previous 5 and a feature on John Havlicek. Previous 5 games of this NBA World Championship Series. We thought we would go back, and to direct us along the way, here's Rick Barry.
Well, thank you, Gary. And for those of you who have missed seeing all of these NBA World Championship finals, we'd like to show you some of the action that we've seen. And they have really run the full gamut of emotion, from complete humiliation to jubilation. And it's been like the Battle of Bunker Hill and the Alamo rolled into one as Robert Parish and Moses Malone fight to get position inside. Fouls every time Robert Parish turned around, it seemed. And then Moses Malone continues it. Tom Henderson takes a trip to the floor. Moses with a good fake, but Rick Roby says, hold it, Moses. I've seen enough of those layups, not this time. And they're separated before any damage can be done. And it's defense like this on the part of the Rockets that have helped them to win 2 games. Mike Dunleavy putting up his body on this charge in by Maxwell. Crashes into the support, gets a bruised back, but he hung tough. Then it was Moses Malone's turn as Robert Reed defends against Bird. Bird goes up in the air, crashes to Malone, and Malone takes another trip to the floor. Bird spending more time on the floor than sometimes on his feet, battles for the rebound, and Malone again drives Larry Bird down to the ground. It's been that type of a series. Malone with the rebound, and this time it's M.L. Carr who puts Malone down, and there's that man Bird ever present on the floor. Battling again for the loose ball. Malone can't get a handle on it. And who's on the floor again? Larry Bird. This time Mike Dunleavy puts him there. And there's Mr. Bird again inside. He can't get the shot off. And who goes down on the floor again? Well, you'll never guess. Larry Bird, along with 4 or 5 other people to keep him company this time. Then we see Robert Parish getting a little bit upset about the contact on this play. Oh, lucky that one didn't land. Inside, Willoughby tries to get the rebound. Roby goes for the loose ball, and this was a sad play for the Rockets. And then there's been this classic confrontation, mano a mano. Robert Reed of the Rockets against Larry Bird of the Celtics. This time, Reed comes out on top as he judges that pass perfectly, picks it off, takes it down the court, takes it over M.L. Carr, and gets fouled. Again, Bird goes against Reed. This time, Reed with the good defense, and it's Robert Reed who goes to the floor, but it was an offensive foul against Bird. And here's that man Reed again. You've got to have some courage to do this at Boston Garden. Take a trip 3 rows deep into the stands. But Larry Bird cannot be denied. If he's not scoring, he'll find some other way to do it. He gets the rebound, pitches it back out, gets it off to the easy pass for the break on part of the Celtics, and it was Rick Roby who laid it in. Here goes that man Reed again. Well, he took a trip into the stands in Boston. He figured he may as well join the home folks. And like they say, you can't keep a good bird down. Here comes Larry on the baseline with a super reverse layup. He was not to be denied. Again, he goes up for the shot. He can't get it off. Passes it off to Tiny Archibald, but unfortunately for the Celtics, that one didn't go in. And here's Bird again. Shows you what this man can do. A little pump fake to Reed. He dishes it off on the give and go, and he'll find some way to score points for the Celtics. Here's the defense. Reed against Bird. They're going for the loose ball. This time Robert Reed comes up with the Charlie horse as Bird gets him in the right thigh. Here they battle for position under the boards, and even sometimes their tempers will get away with them. But fortunately, they both seem to be better lovers than fighters. And here is what many people have called one of the greatest plays they've ever seen. An incredible individual effort on the part of Larry Bird. He goes up for the shot. Reed's there to bother him. He doesn't box him out. And look at this great move as the Bird goes airborne. Catches it in midair, throws it up with the left hand, puts it in the basket. An incredible play by Larry Bird. It's been that kind of series.
Thank you, Rick Barry. And you talk about an incredible basketball player that wore the green and white of the Boston Celtics. That was John Havlicek. What an outstanding performer. Named to the NBA all-time team. Hondo, who was known as such an outstanding sixth man. We'll be back to bring you that element called rebound in just a moment. This CB.
I thought that John Havlicek was the best player that I ever played with.
Well, that's really saying something, because you had some outstanding players through the years.
Great players. Great players.
There's some people that still feel that he could play this game as good a shape as he's in.
But his heart wouldn't be in it.
Okay. Well, let's go to the feature. Let's look back a few years. One of the immortal players in the NBA. Here he is, John Havlicek of the Boston Celtics.
A 6'5" swingman from Ohio State, John Havlicek joined the Boston Celtics in 1962 and was carefully groomed to be the team's sixth man, a quicksilver performer able to loosen the flow of a ball game. Playing at either forward or guard, Havlicek rarely started a game, but he always played all the important minutes. He had the endurance of a marathon runner, and he was a flying wedge on the crest of the Celtics' fast break. For 16 years, Havlicek carried a fire around the court, smoking his man on defense and scorching the nets with game-winning baskets. Daring yet disciplined, subtle yet tough, Havlicek was a humble advocate of backdoor cuts and unselfish team play. His lifetime total of 1,270 ball games played remains a league record, and the Celtics captured 8 championships during his tenure. When Havlicek finally retired in 1978, he was the NBA's third all-time leading scorer, second in field goals and total minutes played. No one ever played the game with more enthusiasm and intelligence than John Havlicek, easily the most versatile athlete who ever graced the NBA.
Bob Adams.
We've had throughout the series in the Houston Rockets dressing room. You can see on the blackboard there, 11:15, the pep rally we mentioned at Tranquility Park, and so the players will be there for the Houston Rockets. Let's look now statistically at what has happened in this first half. You can see the Celtics shooting very well from the field, 56%. As far as offensive rebounds are concerned, Houston doing a much better job as they lead in that particular category. In that assist situation, Tiny Archibald has 9 of those 13 assists. As we mentioned, the turnovers very equal, so that has not showed us any kind of a trend in Game 6. As we start the second half of play, a 6-point lead for the Boston Celtics. A win here, the Celtics with their 14th NBA World Championship flag. If not, it's Game 7 Sunday. Cornbread Maxwell, and Maxwell starts him out, and he has 10 points. In that first half, Maxwell was 4 of 6. Larry Bird was 4 of 10, so he's still not shooting the percentage he usually does.
And you talked about Tiny, of course, with his assists, Gary. I looked and see those 9 assists that he had. He really was leading things out there.
55-47, Dudley, who started out slowly, starts the second half in reverse fashion. He missed his first 4 at the start of the game, but he nails this one.
This is a very critical part of the game. They have got to play, both teams have got to play well. If they want to win this game.
Cornbread with Moses on him. They double team him, and that leaves Bird. And Bird with a reverse makes it 57-49. Larry with 14.
And an outstanding pass by Cedric Maxwell.
Not too shabby a shot either.
Bird coming back offensively in this game. Henderson on the move, and he is fouled. Tom Henderson with that penetrating move at the 10:50 mark of this third quarter. Archibald with a foul, his first.
Again, Gary, talking about the shooting of these teams, the outside shooting of Houston still suffering badly. They were only 4 for 20 outside of that 12-foot area, 16 for 28 inside. The Celtics, 8 for 17, pretty good outside shooting, 16 for 26 inside 12.
In that first half, Houston took 5 more shots than did the Boston Celtics. That's a good sign for this Houston team, the way they've been shooting. Tom Henderson makes it 57-50. Henderson had 9 assists in a game earlier this year, 8 of them in one half. And it's back to a 6-point lead, which we had at halftime. 57-51. Larry Bird. Nice pass to Maxwell, and he is fouled. Larry Bird, looks like Reed came down on the side of his foot, or somebody stepped on it. He's now retying the shoe. The foul is going to go on Billy Pultz, his first.
We'll watch the move again. Bird draws the double team. Maxwell with a good cut and knock Moses out of the way, goes up for the shot. Pultz catches him with the body. When he fell down, he landed on Reed's foot.
Reed seems to be okay. Reties the shoe. Cedric Maxwell makes it 58-51.
To show you how well the Rockets played in the first half, trying to control the tempo, the Celtics only had 9 fast breaks. They got 10 points off of those opportunities, and that means that they did not let the Celtics get their break into high gear, and that's why they stayed in the game.
That's the first free throw now that Boston has missed. They hit 6 in a row. 58-51. Henderson, Archibald on him. Moses Malone. Parish, who has 3 fouls. Didn't see a lot of action in that first half of play. In fact, he only played 9 minutes. Here's Billy Pultz. Sweeping hook by the Whopper. 58-53. Billy Pultz with 8 points. This crowd, I don't know when they go home they have any voice left. As noisy as it is here, they love the Houston Rockets team. Ford on the move.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Mike Dunleavy took quite a shot. You can see him there in your picture. Robert Parish set a pick on this. Now watch how Dunleavy gets racked on this pick. Here comes Parish. Now watch this. Right into him. Parish didn't move. It's a good screen. His man should have been talking. That's how players get hurt.
Boy, Dunleavy has taken some of those in this series, hasn't he? That's just another in a long succession of them. Here's Ford. Nice pass to Maxwell. And Cedric Maxwell now with 13 points. And he has come out in the second half to score points in a hurry, picking up 5. 60-53. Maxwell a strong candidate for MVP, as is Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Robert Reed. Here's Ford with a rebound, brings it out to Archibald. 9:30 left in this third period. Pultz reaching around. Parish retrieves. Billy's picked up 2 fouls and kicks that one out of bounds.
Now Mike Dunleavy, who got hit by that screen by Parish. So watch this other play. Here he goes with Ford. Ford gives him a little bit of a shove with the left hand, and he takes a little dive again.
Boy, they got to take care of that young man for Brooklyn, New York. This is supposed to be a non-contact sport. We have a timeout. Fresh 24 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Tiny, who had those 9 assists in the first half. Maxwell off to Robert Parish. Pultz staying tough on him, but Parish dead center with another one. Beautiful jumper. He has 12 points. Robert Parish, who gets that ball with as much arch as anybody in the game. Under 7 foot, that's really getting it up there. Moses Malone. Malone having trouble. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Parish brings it down. Robert Parish off to Tiny Archibald. You see Maxwell filling the lane, also Ford, but they hold it up. Larry Bird. Bird is 4 of 10 in the first half.
Timeout. Oh, they did. Yes,
They were hearing you. They were listening to you, Bill.
No, it's getting that dangerous stage where if they let the Celtics get 3 or 4 more points ahead, they'll have to up the tempo and try to catch up playing the Celtics game. And that doesn't work.
Through this.
Of course you can. First of all, you do things to strengthen your hands. First of all, and then I think one of the best things for big guys to improve their hand, playing ping pong.
Playing ping pong.
Yes.
Is that hand-to-eye thing, or?
Yes.
Here is Malone. He's had a tough time, but a lot of that pressure put on by Boston has made it difficult. Dunleavy hits from outside. Dunleavy's hit 2 here in the second half.
Now, this is when the guys are going to have to execute the coach's plan. They got to get back to the plan.
Larry Bird, the shot still not where it usually is. Dunleavy with the rebound. So after bouncing it to an 11-point lead, the biggest of the game, they've whittled it to 9.
That's the first miss for Boston this quarter.
Well, that's pretty good shooting, I would say, with 7:58 left in this period. So that timeout has brought the Rockets back now to a 64-57 count.
This is the same thing that the Houston coaching staff did one of the earlier games. Every time Boston would try to break it open, they'd call a timeout.
Look at Reed and Bird jockey for position as Ford misses. So the Houston Rockets who time and time again have shown a gritty determination throughout the playoff series, not just the championship series, battling back after trailing by 11 before that timeout. Dunleavy to Pulse, 5 seconds on the shot clock. 4, 3, 2, and Malone. Tough miss by Moses Malone. He had a lot of spin on the ball that time. 7 minutes left in the third period. Rockets miss a golden opportunity. Tiny Archibald out to Bird. Reed back on him defensively. Parish, he walked to the ball. Trying to fake Billy Pulse up. That is now a total of 8 turnovers against the Boston Celtics. 6 against Houston. But again, no real trend there as we've had in some previous games. Henderson, Tiny on him. Malone in on Parish. Billy Pulse reaching over, and Pulse has committed the foul. Pulse now with 3 personals.
Robert Parish played pretty tough defense that time. He made Moses change his shot. Here's Moses with the spin. Now watch when he goes up here. He makes Moses get a little bit higher. That little bit of extra oomph on the ball made it go a little too far. And Bird with good position got the foul on Pulse over the back.
I tell you though, Bill, he's really getting that ball in deep, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's working hard to get that ball inside.
And Archibald, there's Dunleavy down again. Chris Ford hitting. Ford now with 4 points.
Now, sometimes you see a guy like Tiny Archibald who's absolutely by himself and pass the ball off. Because good shooters sometimes can't shoot because they can't feel it.
That's what Rick was talking about earlier, that feel to the basketball. 66-57. 6 minutes now, third period. There's Reed from outside. Bird with the rebound. Both these teams now struggling a little bit in the shooting department. Robert Parish against Pulse. And 3 seconds against the Celtics. That's turnover. We'll give it back to the Rockets with 5:48. Bill Fitch, I should say. Looks like he's in disbelief. Still not moving around very well. Well, those are the ones that really drive you crazy. The lane violation. Billy Pulse tries to follow his own. Here comes Cornbread. Look at Reed get back on defense. Reed hustling. Chris Ford, Larry Bird, Robert Parish.
Hey, that was some pass by Bird, left-handed behind the back, and that was not a hot dog fancy pass. That pass was called for in that situation. Heck of a play.
22nd timeout now by the Houston Rockets.
Here's Reed with the great speed that he has. He catches Cornbread, cuts off the path. Cornbread makes a nice hook pass over to Chris. Chris drives in. He draws traffic. Look at this nice back-off pass to Bird. That was with the right hand. I'm sorry. Bird with the right hand, spin around behind his back. Super pass. Nice basket. It was a great pass, even though it was right-handed.
I was going to say it's a keeper, either left or right-handed by Larry Bird. That fast break, when they move that down, Bill, that's something to watch. When they wheel the ball in and kick it back out.
What they're doing tonight, they've been taking advantage of every opportunity. Every time Houston has a breakdown offensively and they get the ball, they've run the break quite well. I think they've scored on most of the ones they've had that way.
There's Bill Fitch. Larry Bird, by the way, in addition to that outstanding pass, has 12 rebounds. He's already up in that category.
But this is a different Boston Celtic team because Robert Parish has been back in, and he was a factor to start off with, and they gave him the lead, and he's helped them to jump out to this 11-point lead here in the third period.
Now, Bill made the point earlier in this series that Bird adjusts his game. Out on level, you see him. He's checked in at guard now for Houston. He's played very well in this series. There's Dunleavy again. Robert Reed, look at him get up. Robert Reed now has 20 points, his first points of this second half. 68-59, less than 5 remaining in the third period. Game 6 here before a sellout in the Summit in Houston. Playoff basketball. Robert Parish out to Archibald. Reed is just shadowing Larry Bird. He comes up with a rebound along with Malone. I'll tell you, Bird just can't get away from Robert Reed. 4.5 minutes in this third period. Level gets a pick by Malone. To Reed, Billy Pulse, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Look at the quickness of Level to Billy Pulse. Nice pass by Level. Billy Pulse at 6'11", looking down at the basket, and Boston's called a timeout.
Alan Level does gives them is good penetration so that they can get inside and get a pretty good shot off.
He does what Archibald does for Boston. Time you think Houston might be counted out, they've come right back in it.
There's no way tonight that they're going to roll over.
Well, that old expression that there's no tomorrow is certainly true, Rick, as far as this Houston club is concerned.
Well, that's right. They've really risen to the occasion on other situations where they had a do-or-die win facing them.
Bird in trouble. Was able to get it out to Chris Ford, and Ford.
That'll get you out of trouble every time.
70-61. Ford with 6 points. 2 field goals in this third period, which has less than 4 minutes left in it. There's that pick again by Malone. He's been jumping out and really throwing some bone-jarring picks. Dunleavy to Robert Reed. Boy, Reed is playing his whale of the game. 22 points. 70-63. He had, remember, in game 1, 27 points, and he had in the regular season of play 32. That basket going to Archibald. He has 9. 72-63. Heine has not scored all that much in the series, below his seasonal average. Part of that due to the injury. Billy Fultz has a hot hand. Fultz now has 4 field goals in this period. 14 points for the game. 72-65. Again, the crowd picking up the intensity here. The noise level. Larry Bird, that basket will count, and he's fouled. Robert Reed committing a foul, and Bird with a chance for a 3-point play.
And Robert Reed doesn't want to believe it.
Number 50, Bobby Joe Reed. That's his
Wants to
first
play
personal
inside.
foul.
There has good position by Bird. Bobby Joe playing behind him. Goes up for the shot. Robert obviously bumped him with the bodies. What the call was, you couldn't see it from this particular angle.
4th-team foul now against the Houston Rockets. Bird doesn't miss very many from the line. 74-65. There, look at the stats on him. Allen level. Malone just powers up for the rebound. Parish playing a good defense. Bird brings down the rebound. Larry Bird this year was 8th in the NBA in free throw percentage, so you don't expect him to miss very many. Backing up. Reed, off balance shot. And Bird now. Funny players. You used to have Sam Jones like that, didn't you?
Yeah, players like that. There's some players when it gets down that last quarter, they don't mind giving up the shot. Let somebody else take it. And when you got a guy that wants the ball, that is an asset going down the stretch.
Malone now with 18 points. 76-67. Broken up by Robert Reed. 14 seconds on the shot clock. The Celtics will bring it in with 1:33 to go. Third period. It's hard to believe that this Houston team was beaten by 29 points on Tuesday, wasn't it? The complete adjustment they've made, and Archibald is fouled on the move. Adjustments have really been made well by this trio, or this pair of Henderson, or Dawson rather than Harris. They've really been able to do that, Bill, from game to game.
Well, you know, he's got a team here that all season long he's trying to find out who could play. And so he found out some of the skills the guys can do, and so he uses different skills in different games, which a coach should be able to do, is to find out what his guys can do and use it when you need it.
The penalty in as Archibald at the line. That foul going on level, his first. 78-67. Chris Ford. Not a lot said about Ford in this series, but he has played excellent defense. He is shaken up a little bit by that pick. Got a elbow to the midsection. Lead on the middle. Bird brings it down. Bird out to Cedric Maxwell. A minute 10 left in this period. Maxwell and Ford. Chris Ford has hit 3 key baskets in this period.
You know that outlet pass then? Now that's something I used to work on. And Bird did one of the most difficult things he's done tonight. He made a good outlet baseball pass left-handed.
80-67 Malone. That basket will not count. Gonna have a foul on Moses.
You see the outlet pass that Bill was just talking about coming up. There's the shot by Reed. Just does get out. Bird in with the rebounds. Malone couldn't get the offensive board. He battles hard. There's look at that left hand with a lot of authority over the half-court line. Maxwell takes it on down, dishes off the Ford. He lays it in.
You're talking about those passes. That's not so much strength as technique, the way he got it out on that. Parish missing. The biggest lead of the game now for the Celtics. 80-67, 13.
Now the Rockets need a bucket real bad going down the stretch.
Dunleavy off to level. Intended for Malone. Parish comes up with it. And now they'll slow down and take the last shot of this period.
And they needed that basket bad.
There's Level going for the steal. It's off of Level. Boston will have it with 11 seconds. 11 seconds in this third period. The Celtics climbing closer to what they hope is their 14th NBA World Championship flag. There's the time left in this third period. What a tradition Boston has, and they're trying to add to it. Archibald, remarkable shot.
That hurt the period. That hurt bad.
As now Boston has made a run of 10-2 to take this 15-point lead of 82-67. That's CBS Sports. This way it'll be awarded tonight.
Isn't that an artistic picture? You could almost see the trophy.
Hey, you know one reason Boston is leading? They are now shooting 60.7 from the field through the first 3 periods. Look at the game matchups, though. Reed and Bird, they've really had outstanding nights.
Now, what's happening is Dale Harris is going to a quick lineup. He's got some guys that can move and can up the tempo.
That meaning Willoughby.
A little better defensively because they all are pretty good guys with lateral movement.
That means Willoughby, Calvin Garrett is in there. To Robert Reed. Look at that follow. Trying to go over the top. That will go off of Houston. And with 11:42, the Boston Celtics with their biggest lead of the game, 82-67.
They're trying that full court press.
Go ahead. 13 to 18 in that quarter they shot.
Not real bad shooting.
Now, when do you figure it starts getting critical in this game time-wise, Bill?
About 7 minutes into the fourth quarter. Now, if they've got it, they can't get any more than 4 points behind than they are now.
Okay, that foul going against Willoughby. Let me ask you something, Bill. Let's back up in there. You're talking about the full court press, trying to get them into the half-court game. What do you mean by that?
Well, what Houston's done, he's gone to a quick lineup that should be better defensively. They got a good rebound in Reed and Malone. And so what they're trying to do is run a full court press to slow Boston down, and they feel they should be able to get enough offense between Reed and Malone to stay in the ball game.
Well, neither team has scored now in this fourth period. 1 minute's gone by. Rebound, ML Carr. Out to Tiny Archibald. Maxwell and Ford are down there. Chris Ford back to Tiny. Chris Ford. What a play, but he doesn't get the shot to drop, and Calvin Garrett with the rebound.
One problem they might have, though, Bill, is these fellas haven't played together that much. Whether they can run their offense smoothly and effectively is going to be a big question.
Still no one has scored in this fourth period. There's Moses Malone trying to do something about it. Rebound ripped down by Cedric Maxwell. Still 82-67. Bill Harris, his team with a real uphill struggle now.
Coming down, Willow.
I would say up mountain struggle, not a hill.
Maxwell into Parish. Parish against Malone, and Robert Parish hits another 2. He has 16. Bird with 20. Parish with 16. Maxwell and Archibald with 13. There you can see the frustration of Gavin Maloof. An 84-67 game. We have a timeout. There's 10 minutes left to be played. Maybe 10 minutes left in the season of the Houston Rockets. And maybe 10 minutes until this Boston Celtics team can add yet another NBA World Championship flag to the top of the Garden.
When the Rockets have scored 24, 23, and 20 points, they've held them lower each successive quarter, and that's why they have control of the game.
Bill, we had a microphone in the Rockets huddle. What did we learn from that?
Well, what they're trying to do is they're going to depend on Moses and Reed mostly for their offense, and try to use a full-court press and keep the pressure on the Celtics. First of all, to slow them down and to see if they got about almost 5 minutes to take over this game if they're going to come back. But they've got to take over tempo.
Ford committing his second personal foul. 9:43 left. Tom Henderson, Gerald Henderson, who's come in to pick him up. Bill Willoughby, Maxwell up in his face. Rebound, Tom Henderson off to Moses Malone, and look at the traffic. Foul against the Boston Celtics. Bill Fitch realizing it isn't over yet. You're going to have ML Carr ticketed with that foul, sending Malone to the free throw line.
But what they're doing is it probably won't work because they know that they're going to Malone. And they're saying, you're going to have to make the outside shot. We're not giving Moses anything.
And they're 8 for 29 on those so far through 3 quarters.
It does look a bit grim, right?
That's, by the way, is the first point of this fourth quarter by Houston. 84-68. 9:23 to go in the fourth stanza. Gerald Henderson with his quickness to ML Carr. They have the smaller people in there right now. Ford, Henderson. Here is Henderson. And Parish tips it out. Tom Henderson comes down with it. Henderson, beautiful drive, and he's fouled. Tom Henderson, who played on that World Championship team of the Washington Bullets. He doesn't want to end tonight.
But they got it down to...
Tom Henderson on the line to shoot 2 for the Rockets.
If he makes these 2, they'll have it down to 14. And that's not bad with 9 minutes to go.
And Henderson with the 2 free throws.
There's always a tendency after Boston or one of the other teams makes a run on Houston to say, well, that ought to do it. But this team doesn't give up.
They really haven't. That's the reason they're in this championship series. Now it's that 14-point spread that you mentioned. 84-70. You know, Fitch is a little bit concerned yet. 6 points in a game for Tom Henderson. ML Carr, Parish, and Malone bouncing. ML Carr, tough shot. Rebound brought down by Calvin Garrett.
Because one thing that Boston has not done very well in the playoffs is they have not put a team away. They've gotten that lead out. They have the same problem that Philadelphia has. You get a lead on a team, and they really haven't put it. They did in the games they blew them out, but in tough games, they haven't really blown them away.
Okay. Is that old killer instinct? That turnover very costly to Houston. ML Carr to Maxwell. Cedric against Willoughby. Final tip by Parish and Moses Malone over the back. Oh, wait a minute.
They called offensive goaltending against the Celtics. Here we'll see Cedric make the move, going to his left across the middle. Parish is going to come in to try and go for the tip. Looked like Malone goes over his back. And that's what the call was.
So no basket. 84-70. Bill Willoughby. Malone follows, and now it's a 12-point game. 8 minutes left. 21 points for Moses Malone. Malone has averaged 22 in the series. Larry Bird will come back in at the first opportunity. This is just indicative of this Houston team. You think they're through, and they're not. Robert Parish. Willoughby with the rebound. Off to Henderson. They can cut it to 10. Calvin Garrett, he's fouled by ML Carr. And now Larry Bird will re-enter the game with 7:43 left. 3 fouls on ML Carr. He, Maxwell, and Parish have 3. Pultz and Reed with 3, as does Willoughby. There's Carr setting down. Bird in to pick up Calvin Garrett. Tom Henderson out to Willoughby. Calvin Garrett, difficult shot. 10-point game. And Boston has the timeout.
And there's been quite a dry spell for Boston. They haven't scored.
And so the Celtics regroup. This CBS Sports Special will continue. They scored only 2 points in the last 4 minutes and 24 seconds. Let's listen to Del Harris. Boston rally where they've scored 7 unanswered points.
Mike Barber from the Oilers here cheering on the local team.
Malone with 16 rebounds, Bird with 12. 10 points separate these two clubs in game 6. 7.5 minutes left. That's how close the Celtics are right now to a World Championship, and how close Houston is to extending it to 7 games. Bird. Boy, did he go up again.
The one thing the Rockets are doing, this team is not running the same type of offense. They're more or less freelancing and innovating out there, taking advantage of their individual skills, and it's working for them.
7 minutes now left in the game. Willoughby with 6 seconds on the shot clock. Robert Reed with 4. It's an 8-point game, and this place has erupted again. 24 points now for Robert Reed. The Celtics have gone ice cold. Larry Bird. The Celtics now 1 of 7 from the field. Maxwell blocked. Gerald Henderson trying to get out of there alive. And Reed comes up with it. Houston now has a chance to cut it to 6. Reed off to Calvin Garrett. It's a 6-point game. Incredible come from behind by this Houston team. Boston is called for a timeout. The Celtics, with 6:20 to go, are not into that championship picture yet. It's the case here. The Rockets aren't out of this one yet.
It's hard to believe, but Boston scored 2 points the first 2 of this quarter, this period. The Rockets didn't score for the first 2.5. Celtics have yet to score another basket, and the Rockets are getting back in because 3 of their last 4 baskets have come inside.
And so, with 6:20 left in this game, Boston trying to settle down. They call that timeout. Listen to the crowd. It's bedlam here at the Summit. Chris Ford, Reed on in. To Archibald, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Tiny trying to get away from Tom Henderson. In a little bit of trouble. 3 seconds. 2 with 1. Rebound. Who's got it? It's going to be off of the Boston Celtics. A chance to cut it to 4.
Well, I tell you, always expect the unexpected in the NBA.
And in this championship series in particular. Boston now 1 of 10 in shooting in this 4th period. Bill Willoughby, look at Reed trying to shake Chris Ford. Willoughby with 9 seconds on the shot clock to Robert Reed. Reed, who has 24 points and a foul. Reed has been fouled at the 5:32 mark.
Gary, I can tell you right now, I almost would have been willing to bet my life that this couldn't have happened. With the Celtics up and in control of this game, and that just shows you that you don't make bets like that.
And red has got to be on pins and needles. That's the 3rd foul on Chris Ford. Reed will go to the line, and look at what he has done. 24 points.
You know, in one of the earlier games, I think that Houston won in Boston. In the last 5.5 minutes, they only scored 3 points, but the Celtics only scored 1.
And they had an opportunity in Sunday's game, recall, and they couldn't get it done.
That's a big missed free throw right there. They need to get every point they can and get back in control. The Celtics stop them a couple times, score a couple of baskets, and they get right back in control.
So you'll have another one, the penalty in. 3 to make 2, and another big miss. There's Tom Janovich and Murphy, 2 men who 11 years in the league have never been in the championship finals, and they don't want it to end now. Reed makes it 84-79. Still, the Celtics have scored only 2 points in this quarter. It's incredible. Maxwell out to Tiny Archibald. To Larry Bird. Parish, he's going to try to do something about it and does, and that was a big basket for Boston.
Every basket's big for Boston right now, as for the Rockets.
The last basket had been at the 10-13 mark. Then with just over 5 minutes, Boston hits again. 86-79 to Calvin Garrett. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Garrett with Bird on him. Back to Willoughby, and he's fouled by Cedric Maxwell.
Oh, and that is just not a good foul. Bill Fitch can't believe it. A bad shot, touch shot actually by Willoughby in that situation, and to get bailed out and go to the free throw line really hurts.
4 fouls now on Cedric. He's the first guy in this game to pick up his 4th foul. 4:55 left. it back to a 6-point game.
With 3 days, it seems, left to play.
They're going to pick them up. They've got the 22 trap defense, and that's the three-quarter trapping defense.
But the Celtics break it. Ooh, they almost broke it too far down the floor. 4 minutes, 45 seconds. Out to Archibald. The crowd thinking there was a traveling call. They're up in arms right now. 6 seconds on the shot clock. 4. Broken up. Willoughby to Henderson. Tom Henderson. It's now 86-83, a 3-point game. And Boston will get another timeout. They've outscored Boston now 16-4. And still 4:23 left. What a complete reversal it's been after leading by 17. We're going to keep it right here. And we'll go over to the Houston Rockets bench as you look at it. A very, very concerned Boston Celtic bench.
Well, you see Ford trying to penetrate. The ball was knocked away, and here come the Rockets. Tom Henderson will take it all the way against Tiny, under control. Gets by Tiny. Bird's there. He floats in the air. A little hard off the glass, but it goes back again off the glass and goes through, and they've cut it to 3 with 4:23 to go.
We're going to run the same thing on offense. I'm telling you, if Reed isn't open down deep, like if Reed's down here, he's not open. He's going to go get mowed.
The timeouts left. Boston also, by the way, has a 22nd timeout.
On the 22, Bobby, you line up here, you and Willow, get Garrett and Tommy up. You line up on this side because Ford is coming way back, and you can get to him quick that way. On 22, you and Garrett be up here. Willow and Reed will be back with Reed on this side because Ford is coming to the corner and he can match up with him quick. Keep it out of middle.
All right, Del Harris, you can see some of the excitement in his voice cracking. There's a man who's been in a few pressure-packed situations in his 30 years with the Boston Celtics. Boy, Bill, it's amazing to me how this thing just reversed, completely pivoted around.
Well, this Houston team, as I said, is a fine team. Now, he put in, as I said, a quick team, and it's working for him. It's a quick team, and what they're doing is they change the tempo of the Celtic offense, and that's why their shots are not going.
You know, Boston has hit 2 of 10. They have 20% in this 4th period. What were we talking about earlier? They had 60.7. That must have been the biggest turnaround in a long, long time. Boston had a 17-point lead with 10:13 left. Now a 3-point lead with 4:14 left. Archibald, Tom Henderson on in. Larry Bird. That basket wouldn't have counted had it gone in. A foul will go on who? We'll wait and see. Henderson holding his hand up.
It's on Garrett.
It's going to be Calvin Garrett. There's Gerald Henderson looking at that scoreboard like he can't believe what those figures read.
Garrett hit Larry Bird right in the face.
Garrett with his first personal foul. Larry Bird, and he's going to hit those pressure shots now. 88-83, 4 minutes left as you see it. 22 points for Bird. His highest output in this championship series. He reaches in on Garrett. They'll be able to bring it back across, but they only have 9 seconds on the shot clock. Henderson charging on Tom Henderson.
And Larry Bird is the man that drew the foul. He saw the play coming. He knocked the ball loose, and then he comes back to draw the foul. You see him there moving his leg a little bit. Here comes the play. There he's standing. Well, he drug his left leg a little bit, but he had the good body position, and that was just to keep his balance, it looked like. But it doesn't matter because the official called it a charge.
That's a first foul on Henderson. Del Harris, you can see him in the background there yelling to his team with 3:37 left. Larry Bird again. Oh, as he hits some pressure-packed shots.
Well, that's why the man, I think, is a great player, because he's not afraid to do that. Even though he hasn't been shooting the ball that great in this series, he came back to hit 2 big shots for the Celtics.
24 points for Larry Bird. Time now starting to get away from this Houston team. Bird committing a foul, a 2-shot foul.
But I'll tell you, he did a smart thing there too, Bill, because once he fouled him, that's right, he made sure that the guy wasn't going to get the shot off to have a chance for a 3-point play.
That will be the 3rd on Larry.
Now, this is the hard part right here for Houston. You get it down to 3 points, and you know you're in a ball game. And then the other team runs off a couple of points, a couple of buckets, and that's when you really dig in. You can't get discouraged because it's be very easy. But this team is not going to quit.
I tell you, this guy is really good. Calvin Garrett has come in and played well. 90-85. Garrett with 6 points, all of them in this fourth quarter. Timeout now by Boston.
And that's their last timeout. They only have a 22nd one left out. Good pressure on the part of the Rockets that time to force the Celtics to use up their last full timeout.
Let me say this. If you're wondering why we have not gone into the Boston Celtic huddle, is because Bill Fitch would prefer we do not. It's not that we're being partial in any one way. We are allowed in the Houston huddle.
Now, that could have been a key play by Houston right there. I'll tell you why. Boston had to use their last regular timeout. Now, suppose we get down 10 seconds to go. Houston makes a basket to go ahead. Boston can call timeout, but they can't advance the ball because with the 22nd timeout, you don't have that option to move the ball to the front court. So that means that if it's less than 10 seconds, say 6 seconds, they would have to try to bring the ball all the way up court and then set up a shot. And that's really tough. And so now it may not happen, but that's one of the possibilities. And it was caused by the defense that they couldn't get the ball inbound because the Houston defense. And this is a good defensive team they got there because they have good lateral movement. And these guys are pretty quick.
All right, let's go over now and listen to Del Harris.
Center field. Back up in here. You pick up whoever you can that breaks open, or you trap the first pass. Now, I want everybody else face front your man. Wherever your man is, you face front him. You too, Mo. Wherever your guy is, face front him, looking back. Let's make him eat that thing. This guy, whoever's guarding that guy, back in here, center field, he'll play against the long pass or any over-the-top pass. And then trap the first pass. Wait a minute. Offense.
Well, obviously, they're going to try to do some trapping again to cause the Celtics to turn the basketball over, get it back in their hands. They have plenty of time left with 3:17 with 3 timeouts. They really have things in their favor in that regard. Of course, they're in the penalty situation. They'll go to the line on any fouls that the Celtics commit against them.
Look at that shooting percentage. That's better than it's been. Those last 2 shots by Larry Bird picked it up a little bit. Prior to that, they were struggling in the 20 percentile. So now, the Celtics, 3:17 left. With a 5-point lead, 90-85, with only a 22nd timeout left. Here we go, and this is the only way that it could happen. Houston has played so tough all year, you just figured they had to come back and cut that 17-point lead down, and they did. Down to 5 at this stage. Larry Bird, 8 seconds on the shot clock. 6, 5. Bird, they're going to have to hurry with 3. Ford with 2. Boy, he came close. And Parish with a big rebound.
Oh, and a real good push-up.
Little push-up. They got lucky that Chris was able to get some iron on that one.
That was good defense. But then the rebound by Boston. Now they have it down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. He palmed the basketball. Bird turned it over. So Houston gets it anyway. Now with 2:37 left.
That shot also went in. Didn't count, though.
90-85, you see the time left, the sellout crowd. They've got to be hoarse by now. Henderson off to Calvin Garrett again. What a job he's done. Bill Willoughby, Moses Malone, and Malone is fouled. Moses Malone, who hasn't had the ball all that much here in the fourth quarter. He scored 1 field goal and 1 free throw. 4 fouls on Parish.
They will see the lob pass again coming into Willoughby. Parish walks over there. This gives him much room to get open. Has to go back to Malone on the good pass from Willoughby and commits the foul.
Moses Malone, a 5-point difference in the game. Make it 4. Lots of time yet. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Malone with 22. That's right at his series average. See Del Harris. He'll have another free throw because of the penalty. 90-86. And Malone, with the aid of the penalty, cuts it to 3. The Boston Celtics, a tradition they've had. Houston, the first time ever in the championship finals, have played with great savvy, great heart. Archibald to Ford, and Reed reaches in and commits the foul. That's going to be his 4th. There's Gavin Maloof again. What pain he had.
Here we go with the play again. Reed right there, grabbed onto Ford, as you can see. Very obvious foul. That's only 3. You see 4 team fouls, I believe, now.
Cedric Maxwell.
Well, that's a big play by Maxwell. That pass wasn't exactly right on the money, Bill.
Not only that, it wasn't close.
Cedric Maxwell now with 15 points. Willoughby to Garrett. Calvin Garrett. Dead center. 92-89. Garrett with 8 points. All of them in this fourth period. 92-89. 1:47. You see the time. Archibald. Henderson on him. Time to come back out and reset. 12 seconds of shot clock. This earlier, Bill, there's some guys that want the basketball, and has it really been shown again tonight in the case of Larry Bird?
All right, now listen.
He's rescued him this last quarter because they had they just about let it get away. It still isn't over. That's not what I mean. But they had just about let it get away because those shots that he made, they had to have them.
You saw Bill Fitch tell our cameraman, go ahead and move out.
He said that with a little bit of a flair, didn't he?
Right here.
Would you listen now to Del Harris? Let's look back on that three-point play by Larry Bird.
Bird with the shot. Now watch his reaction afterwards. I think he wanted that one.
Boy, Chris Ford was jumping straight up in the air, too. He was not 5 feet away from him on that, and he was excited. Larry Bird, who had been in a slump, now today with 27 points.
And we'll go down. Now wait for it. All right. Now Tony, try to drag it. We got Reed first. If he's not open. If you're not open, Bobby, I want you to come right back and get Mo. Mo will come under you here. And you stay. Now, if that doesn't get us anything easy, then I just want you to get to your spreads with Reed and Malone down, the 3 of you out, and go to your red. I want to get a good shot. Box, X the guards, look for Reed first, Malone second, spread it. We need to get a good shot. We need to score it here. Now, we've got 2 timeouts, right?
You know, you got a little over a minute to go. And if Houston were to score 6 unanswered points, you have a tie ball game, and then you go down the last 20 seconds, depending on the last shot, and someone says you got to make a shot. But this is a 48-minute game. And Houston let Boston get them so far behind that when you catch up, it's so hard.
Takes a lot out of you, doesn't it, just
Yes,
to play
it does.
catch up.
Psychologically more than physically.
He had a 17-point lead, now at 6. And the time, 1:16. Now, that was touched. They can bring it back. Tom Henderson. Out to Calvin Garrett. Garrett against Maxwell. Larry Bird tried to follow, and coming away with it is Chris Ford, trying to protect it after Robert Parish with a minute left now. The Celtics a minute away from it, and there's a steal by Calvin Garrett. Garrett's with the steal after Reed. Henderson back to Robert Reed, and Ford comes up with it. And a foul will go on Robert Reed, and that will be 5 on Reed.
And that will make it tough. Now will come. Only way they can really get back in with this much time is 3-point plays. Stopping the Celtics and 3-point plays.
Well, this Rockets team, let's look back at the steal.
Chris Ford was down court when they stole the ball the first time. That's who they were trying to pass it to, and then he came back, hustling back on defense.
Started to say the Rockets on 3-point plays in this series are 3 of 9. Dunleavy has hit all 3 of them. 3 of 6. And so Chris Ford at the line now with 45 seconds left. That makes it 98-91. Prior to Tuesday night, Boston hadn't been able to score 100 points in this series, and now they're within 2 of it again. Ford now with 9 points. And now 1. 99-91. Houston asks for another timeout. So with four win this game, they will have won in the playoffs $422,500. And there's the champagne as they prepare themselves for what would be their 14th world title.
Now that's curious. They're opening it. Now, if a miracle were to happen, they'd have to carry it all the way to Boston. Open.
Rick Barry is in there, and we'll be going to him. And that'll be a very jubilant locker room. After it's all over, the Celtics per team player would have $35,000 plus if they vote what you would expect the regular shares, because they got $50,000 for the best record, $50,000 for the division title, $42,500 for the semifinals, and by winning the finals, $230,000.
You know how much things have changed. First year we won the playoffs, I got $1,900.
$1,900?
In fact, their playoff share now was more than my salary was the first year I played.
And there's the trophy that will go to the Boston Celtics. Donlevy is in. You expect him to shoot him. And if the Celtics win this, they would be the first team since 71-72 with the best regular season record to win the world's title.
You know, things have changed so much that the referees are now making as much as I used to make.
You're making it up now, man. There's the time left. Three-pointer. Dunleavy, the man we expected to shoot it. He was 3 of 6 prior to that one. And I want to tell you, I cannot say enough for this Houston Rockets team. They truly have been a Cinderella club.
They have not quit.
They haven't. But they have.
Now they let themselves, not on purpose, of course, get too far behind tonight to catch up. But they showed a lot of character, and they showed a winning team. You see, a lot of people think you only win if you win this game. But getting here is quite an achievement. And what happens, the teams, that even the ones that lose here, usually are a better team for the next season.
Very good point, as that's now 100 points for this Boston team, 18 for Maxwell, and there's Terry Durod coming in. He's smiling from ear to ear. Well, Bill, again, though, Houston had to win a third game in L.A. They had to win a third game in San Antonio. They have played this Boston team extremely well. You just can't say enough for them.
Especially when they came in there thinking, everyone thought that they'd be, it was a mismatch because the Celtics had beat them 13 straight times before they got into the playoffs.
But you can see some celebrating going on now. So they're going to have to find some room, Bill, to put another flag up above the Boston Garden, but I would imagine they'll be able to find some.
Oh, yeah, there's a little more room left, and those refs are pretty strong anyway.
Well, what a tradition. As Boston, 30 years. And, Bill, you've been so involved in those and the opportunities, both as a player and both as a coach. Red Auerbach, I wonder, he's now been involved in all 14 of them. You suppose they get old? Do you ever take them for granted?
No. You know, at one stretch, we won it 8 straight times. And I want to tell you, it's just, after that first one, they all mean as much and maybe more. I think for me, after the first one, the last one was more important than any of the other ones.
That was in '69 when you were a player coach. Now, don't forget, don't leave us, because we're going to be going into the dressing room. We'll also have the presentation of that NBA World Championship trophy by the commissioner. We'll also have Red Auerbach there. So we have a lot of post-game activity.
As I look out on the court, I look at these guys like Chris Ford, Robert Parish, Tiny Archibald. To hear guys that were other places a couple of years ago.
Right, none of these guys have been on a world championship team.
I mean, they were on other teams, and and you look up and here you are. You know, you're playing and nothing's really going right for you. And you know, it always hurts just a little bit if you get traded.
Yeah.
And so you look up and here you are, a world champion.
But 2 years ago, they won, what, 29 games? There's Fernston, who comes in with the steal, and so the Boston Celtics are going to be the 1981 NBA World Champions. Their 14th flag in the last 25 years. There's a foul now on Mike Dunleavy. The fans are up applauding a moment ago. There's Bill Fitch. I bet that back feels a little better right now, don't you?
Oh, yeah, his back feels a little better.
There's Kevin McHale coming in. Again, we will have the presentation. Look at that. Well, you didn't see it. Away from the Substitution, the high five. Larry Bird got a high five from everyone. There they are. And justifiably a very happy team. The best record in basketball during the regular season. Atlantic Division champions. I want to tell you world champs.
Nothing in the athletic career can feel any better than coming out of a game that sold up the world championship.
There's a disappointed man, Calvin Murphy, but again, what a playoff he had. These guys have nothing to be ashamed of, and one thing they have done, they have made Houston a basketball city. People here are looking forward to next year, and this man, our MVP this year by CBS, Allen level. Bernston brings it down. You see 2 seconds, 1, and the world champions, the Boston Celtics. And so, the Celtics with their 14th flag. We will be presenting the trophy. Joining the commissioner, Larry O'Brien, will be in the presentation area. We'll also be going to Rick Barry. And let's go to Rick now.
Bill, we have a very jubilant Boston Celtic team as they come into the locker room. Now the champions of the world, Larry Bird. Larry. Get some. Larry, come here. Let's talk to Larry Bird, who just came on incredibly strong at the end. Larry, there's a lot of talk about the great defense done on you. Your shooting wasn't going real well, but you really came back with a super performance. How do you feel about having come so close in college, and now you're in the pros, you've got the big one?
No, this is a very big one for us. We practiced awful hard this year. We stuck together. When going got tough, we came through. They came back on us, but not good enough.
Well, they're taking care of Larry here, and he's the man who did it. Larry, what was going through your mind at the end there when your team was struggling and the Rockets made that gallant comeback and you just took over?
Well, I knew if we just made a couple baskets and kept our poise, we'd come through like always. Guys just kept on playing hard. We got a couple baskets, and we done it.
Well, this is one of the dangers of being in the winning locker room. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rick.
You're going to deserve it. Let's get Robert Parish. Robert Parish. Well, they're taking care of a little business with Robert. Robert, you had a great game out there, and you were the fellow that got him going early, and you came back after that foul trouble. How does it feel to have it all?
It feels very good. I'm happy to win it all. It's that.
Okay, we let Robert go and dry off a little bit. Let's get some of these other players. ML, come on in here. I see you said you're going to do what you had to do to win, and you did it.
We went out and we played. We played the game the way the Celtics are supposed to play. Got to be the happiest moment of our life. Rick, I have a ring like you now.
All right, ready to go.
Okay,
great job. Nice going. Cedric, come here, Cedric. Cedric Maxwell, the man who was voted the most valuable player by Sport Magazine. Take care. Cedric, how your feelings?
Hold on.
Bill Fitch has said, hold on for a second. He wants to say something to his ball club. Bill Fitch to his ball club.
Bill, where's Bill out? There he is. Get in here, everybody. Hold up, everybody.
We played together and we prayed harder together.
Listen,
Listen, that's right. Bow your head silently.
Yeah, the prayer.
Thank God for all the blessings that we've had. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, you heard it. Bill Fitch and his team. Cedric, get back over here. Hey, Cedric, I'll tell you one thing. I really admire the way that you admitted the fact that you weren't ready after that second ball game in Boston, and you came back to really inspire this ball club. How does it feel to have been able to accomplish that?
Rick, it's a tremendous feeling. You know how it is when you win the World Championship. And by all means, everybody's standing up just cheering. I'm just lost for words. It's just a tremendous feeling.
Listen, enjoy
Thank
it.
you. All right.
Tiny.
Hey, Mom! Hey, Mom, I'm home!
All right. Tiny, come here, Tiny. Tiny Archibald. Little man here, but a big man out in the court. The man who directed the attack. Super job out there, Tiny. Had 9 assists in the first half. You've been hurting all this series with the leg. How do you feel about winning it?
Well, I thought we had to keep our poise tonight. I knew they was going to come out fired up. Was this going to be, hopefully, their last game? And we played well. We tried to run the fast break and execute and just go at them. That's all. Just go at them.
How much does the leg really bother you?
Well, you see, I didn't penetrate as much as I could, but I just try to pick my spots and try to keep the team going. And that's my job, Rick, not to score anymore, but keep the team going. And I'm glad we just won.
Hey, listen, join the fellas. Everybody's going out. They've all left the locker room because they're having the trophy presentation, and Bill Fitch wants his entire team to join that presentation. And so we'll go to Gary right now for that.
Okay, Rick, thank you very much. We'll be having the presentation of the World Championship Trophy, as we'll have Commissioner Larry O'Brien with us. Also Red Auerbach along with Bill Fitch as the Boston Celtics, the world champions for the 14th time. We'll be back in just a moment. The world champion Boston Celtics. You saw the excitement in the dressing room. They've now come out here into the trophy presentation area. We have with us the Commissioner, Lawrence O'Brien.
Thanks, Harry. First of all, I'm sure nobody will mind. Let's say a good word for the Houston Rockets. They did a terrific job, and they're doing right. And the people of Houston should be proud of them. Gavin Maloof wants to shake hands with Harry Mangorian and congratulate him, the owner of the Rockets, the owner of the Celtics. And now, for the 14th time in the history of the NBA. Champions. Go right out! Go right out! Red Auerbach, Bill Fitch, and all the players. Will Harry Mangorian come over here? Harry? I'm going to let you hold it. To the world champions, the world trophy, you are truly the champions of the world once again. And here we go. Well,
thank you.
And this belongs to you permanently, Harry. We don't do that.
Robert Parish. All right, let's bring Harry. Do you have something you'd like to say?
Well, I would like to say that it's really been a wonderful season. We have wonderful players, a wonderful coach, and of course, Red, this is old stuff for him, but it's new for me.
Well, let's bring in the coach, Bill Fitch. Bill, I think that. Bill, does your back feel a little better right now?
It does, Gary. I just want to tell you this for all those who got bad backs. It's not perfect yet. I threw it out going down and shake hands with Dell.
Oh, did you really?
Yep.
Well, I tell you, though, what a battle. What a series.
Oh, these guys have had 2 great seasons, and it's been no nights off, not much rest. And if a team ever celebrated, this one deserves to celebrate, because this is our first night off like in 2 years. And I'd like to say that we all had a great deal of respect for Houston and for that basketball team that's sitting in the Houston locker room. It was a great series, and we're just proud to have that championship trophy because of the amount of talent we had to beat to get it.
All right. Well, I notice here Red Auerbach has his victory cigar out. Red, did you ever get tired of this?
Never, never, never. And I'll tell you one thing. We got off the 13, we're on the 14. They were simply tremendous. They really showed a lot of character all the way through. I think Fitch, Harry, the ball players, they all came through. I'm so proud of them, like any other championship. Yahoo!
That sums it up very well. Hey, Red, when did you light that cigar? Did you light it to the last second?
No, the last minute.
Okay, now we go to a place that's a little more somber, but a team that has to be very proud, and a coach likewise. Let's go to Rick Barry. He's with Coach Del Harris.
Del, we certainly appreciate you coming out. This, of course, has to be a successful season, regardless of the fact that you lost today. Your feelings on this series?
Well, I'm proud of our players for the finish that they made during the season and in the playoffs, and specifically tonight. I thought that they showed a lot of heart out there. So my hat's off to our players and the Houston Rocket organization, but it's certainly to the Boston Celtics, their fine organization, and Coach Bill Fitch and his fine players. And I, as a coach, am indebted to Bill Fitch and people like him, Jack Ramsey, Cotton Fitzsimmons, and Dick Motta, who pioneered the way for college coaches to get into the NBA, and the subsequent fellows, which are many, who've come in and made it possible for a person like myself to have a part of this wonderful thing called the NBA.
Well, thank you very much, Del, and I'm sure that we'll see you around for many years. Let's go back to Gary.
Okay, Rick, what excitement here as this 1980-81 season has come to a close. The MVP is Cedric Maxwell, who had 24 points, 28 in the game that they won Tuesday, and coming back so strong in this game tonight as the Boston Celtics are the 1981 NBA World Champions. As you know, Bill Russell, Rick Barry, and I have been on camera. We've gotten a lot of the credit for a lot of the fun that's gone on throughout the course of this season. But I want to tell you, there's some people behind the scenes who are professionals who we want to thank. as doing such an outstanding job this year. This sports special is a presentation of CBS Sports.